All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay. The headlines. India and US agree to address mutual trade concerns and further strengthen the economic relationship. Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant to reshuffle his cabinet today. Flood situation in Assam continues to be grim. Several rivers in spate due to incessant rain. Anshula Kant appointed World Bank Managing Director and Chief Financial Officer. And in Wimbledon tennis, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic set up men's singles final. Serena Williams and Simona Halep face off for the women's singles title. India and the United States have agreed to further grow the economic relationship and address mutual trade concerns. A U.S. delegation led by Assistant Trade Representative Christopher Wilson held bilateral talks with a team of Indian officials headed by Additional Secretary, Department of Commerce, Sanjay Chadha in New Delhi yesterday. The two sides discussed the broad contours of bilateral trade and commercial ties and agreed to continue discussions for achieving mutually beneficial outcomes. The meeting was aimed at providing a new impetus to bilateral trade and commercial ties. It was in line with the mandate given by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump during the meeting at Osaka in Japan last month on the sidelines of the G20 summit. India and Russia have held high-level talks in New Delhi to elevate bilateral cooperation to the next level in the field of space, including assistance in India's maiden human space flight mission, Gaganyaan. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Dmitry Rogozin, DG of Russia's space agency, Roscosmos, led the two sides in the meeting held on Thursday. In a release, the External Affairs Ministry yesterday said the possibilities for production of space systems in India were an important part of the discussions. Cooperation in futuristic technologies, including new space systems, rocket engines, propellants and propulsion systems, spacecrafts and launch vehicles technology were also discussed. The next meeting between India and Pakistan on Kartarpur corridor will be held tomorrow. The meeting will take place at the Atari-Wagah border to discuss the modalities of the corridor and related technical issues. Sources said in New Delhi that India has high expectations from the upcoming meeting and hope that issues like connectivity at the zero point and visit of large number of pilgrims on special occasions will be discussed. Sources said India will also raise its concerns over the security aspect. New Delhi had earlier conveyed its strong concerns to Pakistan over the presence of a leading Khalistani separatist in a committee appointed by Islamabad on the project. Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant will reshuffle his cabinet today, replacing 4 ministers. He said in Panaji last night that the swearing-in ceremony would be held at 3 p.m. More from a Panaji correspondent, Kishore Naik.
Chief Minister Pramod Sawant said that 3 members from the BJP-led Goa government's coalition partner Goa Forward Party and independent MLA Rohan Khaute will be dropped from the cabinet. He informed that 3 MLAs who merged with BJP from Congress recently will be inducted into the state cabinet on Saturday. Last Wednesday, 10 Congress MLAs had joined the BJP, increasing the party's strength to 27 in the 40-member Goa Assembly. This would be the second cabinet reshuffle undertaken by Mr. Sawant since he took charge as Chief Minister over 3 months ago. With Saikat Sarkar, Kishore Naik, Goa.
The Union Health Ministry has issued an advisory to all states to fill up vacant posts of doctors and paramedical staff in hospitals to avoid excessive pressure on them and maintain global doctor-patient ratio. In a written reply, the Lok Sabha Minister of State for Health, Ashwini Kumar Chaubey, said the ministry has also asked the states to make a provision for providing extra monetary incentives to doctors and paramedical staff serving in remote areas. Mr. Chaubey said the government has constituted a committee to examine various aspects of a uniform legislative framework to address the issue of assault on clinical establishments and doctors on duty. The Supreme Court has taken note of the alarming rise in the number of rape incidents against children and said it will pass directions to ensure a concerted and clear national response against such acts. A bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi said it has decided to take suo motu cognizance of various reports of newspapers and portals on rising incidents of child rape. The bench appointed senior advocate V. Giri as amicus curiae and asked him to assist it in framing guidelines. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Flood situation in Assam continues to be grim as new areas have also been inundated and several rivers are in spate due to incessant rain. 6 people have so far lost their lives and nearly 9 lakh people are affected in 21 districts. However, flood water has receded in most areas of Bongaigaon district. Rail link between Lumding and Silchar remains cut off due to landslide in Dima Hasao district and efforts are on to restore it. A report.
NDRF and SDRF teams have been placed into service in the flood-affected areas. 68 numbers of relief camps are operational with over 7,000 inmates. Food items and drinking water are being distributed among flood-affected people. State Handloom and Textile Minister Ranjit Datta will visit one of the worst-hit Lakhimpur district today. Water Resource Minister Keshav Mahanta has visited flooded Marigaon district yesterday and took stock of the situation. Manas Pratim Sharma, AIR News, Guwahati.
In Bihar, normal life has been affected due to heavy rain in several parts of the state during the last 48 hours. Very heavy rain occurred at several places in western, northern and eastern Bihar. Rail services on Sitamarhi and Muzaffarpur rail section was disrupted for 13 hours. Rail tracks have been submerged at Narkatiyaganj station. Roads have been swept away at several places in west and east Champaran, Gopalganj, Shivhar, Sitamarhi, Supol, Araria. Rivers like Gandak, Bagmati, Buri Gandak and Kosi have crossed the danger mark at several places. In Madhya Pradesh, Asia's largest solar power project in Rewa has been damaged in a mudslide triggered by continuous rain. The rain is now stopped and experts are repairing the plant. More from our correspondent.
As per the estimates, the project has suffered a loss of more than 20 crore rupees by rain. Production of solar plant has also been affected and it has reduced about 90 megawatt. Generally, the solar plant produces 740 megawatt of electricity. Due to a sudden rise in the water level, the many solar plates and other equipments were submerged. Water also reached inside the switch control board. A huge amount of debris has deposited on the equipments near the drainage area. Officials informed that the experts have been called for repair and restoration work is going on in full swing. The units would be restored to commence its operational capacity shortly. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
The first train with 50 wagons of water reached Chennai from Jolarpet in Vellore district yesterday. The water has been evacuated from the 50 wagons of the train at Vilibakam station. Through pipelines, it was brought to the Metro Water main tank at Kilpok in Chennai for filtering and distribution. Railway officials told AIR News that one more rake with 50 wagons has reached Jolarpet station for carrying more water to the metropolitan city. More from a correspondent.
To overcome the scarcity of water due to the failure of monsoon for 2 successive years, alternate methods are being employed by the administration to meet the water needs in Chennai. More desalination plants and a new reservoir are on the anvil as the long-term plans. Fetching water from agricultural wells and stone quarries from the outskirts of Chennai and running water special trains from Jolarpet are the short-term options being employed. The local body's Ministry SP Velumani has said the supply from Jolarpet will be augmented to 10 million litres a day and will continue for about 6 months. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
Anshula Kant, Managing Director of the State Bank of India, has been appointed as MD and Chief Financial Officer of the World Bank. Ms. Kant will be responsible for financial and risk management of the organization. Her work will include oversight of financial reporting, risk management and working closely with the World Bank CEO on mobilization of International Development Association, IDA, and other financial resources. IDA is a part of the World Bank that helps the world's poorest countries. President of the World Bank, David Malpass, said Ms. Kant brings more than 35 years of expertise in finance, banking and innovative use of technology. In Somalia, at least 7 people have been killed in a suicide bomb and gun attack claimed by Al-Shabaab militants on a hotel in the port town of Kismayo. Authorities said a suicide bomber rammed a vehicle loaded with explosives into the hotel before several heavily armed gunmen forced their way inside, shooting as they went. A former local administration minister and a lawmaker were among those killed. The attack is the latest in a long line of bombing and assaults claimed by the Al-Qaeda-linked group. Akshara Library in the tribal belt of Idmalakudi in Idukki district of Kerala is very unique, being a library situated in the middle of a deep forest area, brightening the lives of the tribal people. It was praised by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the first Mann Ki Baat program of his second term. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Located in Idukki's Idamalakudi tribal hamlet in the Anamudi Reserve Forest, Akshara Library is a result of the love for books of two people, P.V. Chinnathambi, a tea shop owner, and P.K. Muralidharan, a school teacher. The library functions in the Mulagutarakudi school with over 1,000 books. These books were brought to the library after trekking about 12 kilometers through a dense forest route. This difficult mission undertaken by these people is guided by a deep desire to open the world of letters to the tribal people, for whom the only source of information presently is radio. This is what Mr. Muralidharan has to say about Akshara Library.
Making a habit of reading among them. This concept of the library in a forest is actually a product evolved from a discussion among our friends. We wished to open window of knowledge for them.
As Prime Minister rightly said, now Akshara Library is a guiding light for not only the children but also the adults in the region. This is Mayusha with reports of Anthony Munira for AR News from Idukki.
In Wimbledon tennis, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic have set up men's singles final, while Serena Williams and Simona Halep will face off for the women's singles title this evening. Here is the report.
The mouth-watering men's singles clash is exactly what the tennis fans were wishing for. In the first semi-final, Djokovic, the defending champion and world number 1, defeated Spain's Roberto Bautista Agut to reach his 25th Grand Slam final. Later in the second semi-final, second seed Federer, a 20-time Grand Slam winner, outplayed world number 2 Rafael Nadal to move within a win of a record equaling 9th Wimbledon singles title. Federer's 8 titles are more than any other man in history, and if he beats Djokovic in tomorrow's final, he will match Czech Martina Navratilova's women's singles record. Djokovic, on the other hand, will be chasing his 5th Wimbledon title. In women's singles, the summit clash between 11th seed Serena Williams and 7th placed Simona Halep will be played today. The American already holds the record for the most 23 Grand Slam singles titles in the Open era. Sabi Hassan Khan, AIR News.
The Supreme Court has ordered commencement of construction work on Delhi Metro's 4th phase, which is over 100 km long and is estimated to add over 18 lakh riders per day. The Phase 4 will consist of 6 corridors with an estimated cost of nearly 46,800 crore rupees. Senior advocate Aparajita Singh, assisting the Apex Court as amicus curiae in a pollution matter, informed court that the Delhi government has agreed to give the go-ahead to Phase 4 of the metro. And now, for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to Tanvi Taneja.
Thank you, Abhishek. The Supreme Court ordering status quo on Karnataka rebel MLA's issue is one of the stories that dominates headlines this morning. The Tribune, quoting the Supreme Court, says, status quo in Karnataka till July 16th. The paper adds that the SC bars Speaker from deciding on resignations by rebels, their disqualification. In a related story, the Pioneer leads with H.D. Kumaraswamy to brave trust vote, startles all. Karnataka CM seeks trust vote, MLAs taken to resorts, notes the Asian Age. On one of the main landmarks of Rishikesh, the Lakshman Jhula, which was constructed in 1929 and thrown open for the public 1 year later, the statesman writes, movement banned on iconic Lakshman Jhula. Vasnik Khadge in the race for Congress interim chief, informs the Asian Age. Government to soon make ration cards portable in country, writes the Hindustan Times. And finally, baseball goes high-tech with a robot for an umpire. Well, the Times of India reports that a computer officially called balls and strikes for the first time in the game's history in United States. And with that, it's back to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Tanvi. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and US agree to address mutual trade concerns and further strengthen the economic relationship. Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant to reshuffle his cabinet today. Flood situation in Assam continues to be grim. Several rivers in spate due to incessant rain. Anshula Kant appointed World Bank Managing Director and Chief Financial Officer. And in Wimbledon tennis, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic set up men's singles final. Serena Williams and Simona Halep face off for women's singles title. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.